Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another Disney Q&A. I do these every month or so-ish, and this one is gonna be a little bit more of a trip recap because I would say about 3/4 of the questions that you guys submitted over on Instagram were geared specifically towards our resort and our time during our last trip. There's a few other general Disney questions kind of sprinkled in there, so we have a lot to chat about. Let's go ahead and jump into it. To catch you up to speed, on our last Disney trip, we did 5 nights at Animal Kingdom Lodge. We did our first 3 nights at Jambo House. We stayed on the hotel side club level, and then we moved over to Kidani Village and rented DVC points and stayed 2 nights over there. So we kind of did a split stay Animal Kingdom Lodge trip. So I feel like I have a really well-rounded experience with Animal Kingdom Lodge. With that, this is a great first question to start with. Which side of Animal Kingdom Lodge would you say is the best / must-stay part of the resort? Okay, Jambo House is gonna be a little bit bigger, actually a lot bigger. It's gonna have more of that grand resort feel. And then you have Kidani Village next door, which is the DVC building, but you can also stay DVC Jambo House. I know it's a little confusing, but Kidani Village is much smaller. So there's pros and cons to both. With Jambo House, you have a lot of dining options. You have a quick service, you have Boma, you have Chico, you have Victoria Falls Lounge, you have a pretty large pool. There's no splash pad. They do have a kiddie pool there, but no splash pad. But a lot going on at Jambo House. It's a little more lively. The lobby is just spectacular and it feels much larger. And then you go over to Kidani Village, which again, it's much smaller. You walk in and a lot of times people have this like anticlimactic feel where you walk in, you're like, oh, this is it? Like, it's very, very small. And it can even be a little claustrophobic as people are like checking in, checking out. You've got luggage everywhere, people coming in, coming out. There's not a lot of like wiggle room getting in and out the doors. But once you get past that, like, 9 to 10 a.m. where everyone is, that transition hour where people are coming and going, it wasn't a huge issue at all. But the dining is very limited here. So you just have Sanaa, which they do have that open as a casual breakfast where you can, it's like a grab and go, but you can also sit down at Sanaa and do breakfast there as well. They have actual like dishes, you can place an order. It's not like a quick service. I would say it's in between a quick service and a table service. They still bring the food out to your table. And then it's a traditional table service restaurant for lunch and dinner. But that's it. There's no other quick service. There's no other sit down option. You do have the pool bar, but that's about it. And then for the pool situation here, this is where Kidani shines a little bit more than Jambo House. You have the incredible splash pad hybrid playground area and it's all shaded. And in addition to the large slide in the pool, you also have this mini slide that my 4-year-old loved, and it went down into like 3 feet of water so she could still touch the bottom when she went down this slide, so she loved that. So I would say the pool situation shines more at Kidani, but there's just more going on at Jambo House. So I don't know, if I had to pick, I probably would go with Jambo House just because I like that larger resort feel, and then you can still take advantage of the Kidani Village amenities. So you have a shuttle that goes in between both resorts. The shuttle comes every 5 minutes and you can head over there and utilize the splash pad at Kidani. I think just because of the feel of Jambo, I think I like it a little bit better, but I don't know, I really liked getting to experience both, to be honest. Like if I did it again, that's probably what I would do. I would do my first portion of my stay at one and then switch and do the other. I really enjoyed that. Best breakfast, Boma or Sanaa? Ooh, okay, if I was basing it just off the food, I would go Boma, but if I didn't want the busyness of a buffet, I would go Sanaa. I really, really enjoyed the experience at Sanaa because there were only like 3 other tables, like 3 other families around us, and it just was so quiet and peaceful, and you had the animals right outside your window. We sat right up against the window, but the whole experience was so cool. The restaurant felt almost empty, and the food was really, really good. We got sausage and eggs. We got this banana bread loaf, which was incredible. Obviously, it was a little bit more budget friendly because, you know, it's not a buffet, like a sit-down meal. It's more like quick service prices. So if I needed something a little more affordable, a little bit quicker, a little more laid back, I would go Sanaa. But I mean, you can't beat the food options. And like, I don't know, at Boma, it was just, that part was really good. What were the highlights of your trip? Okay, the first highlight that comes to mind is staying club level at Jambo House. That was pretty incredible. Anytime that I'm able to stay club level, it is just the best. Like, I wish I could stay club level every single time, but whenever I'm able to, I just savor it and soak it in. Like, it is so good. Another trip highlight that you will not see in the vlogs was one evening. I had wrapped up our vlog from that morning through lunchtime and decided I wasn't gonna vlog the rest of the day. I try to do at least 1 or 2 days like that where I do half park day vlogs, and then I can take the evening where I'm not filming or recording anything, which is really nice. But we went over, me and Ellie, to Grand Floridian, and I made a last minute reservation at Citricos, and we ate at Citricos, just the 2 of us. That is one of my favorite dinners at Disney. I love the atmosphere and the food there. The service is always incredible. And then we walked around Grand Floridian, and it was just a lovely evening, and then took a minivan back to Animal Kingdom Lodge for an early bedtime. And that was probably one of my favorite nights. Like, it was so relaxing. It felt like, oh, if we lived here, this is what we would do. It kind of had that feel to it, which I really liked. So that would probably be my other highlight apart from staying club level at Jambo House. What do you often struggle with when traveling in the summer? Well, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is the heat. Like, it is so dang hot. Going to Disney in June, July, August, even September is still like brutally hot. But that is obviously the number one thing that I struggle with. But I think diving in a little bit deeper with that, with the heat, is my 4-year-old. She especially gets, and kids in general are gonna get so burnt out earlier in the day because it gets so hot. Even by 10 a.m., it is just, you're pouring sweat. You know, I mean, by 9, 10 a.m., like, it is just so hot outside. It could be 90 degrees at 10 a.m. And then, you know, come noon, it could feel like it's over 100. So by 10:30, 11 a.m., Ellie is pretty much done. Like, it's just, that's how it's always been. Every summer we have gone to Disney around 10:30. She just hits this wall, and it can start to affect how our time goes, you know? Like, she's going downhill, and I kind of have to make the call. Do we push it and stay till lunchtime? Or, you know, do we come back early and call it a day by 11 a.m.? It just seems like I'm wasting so much valuable park time. We'll normally stay in the parks until like 1 or 2 o'clock, and then we'll go back to the resort, and we won't venture back out until after 5 o'clock. But to go back to the resort at 11 a.m., it just feels like, oh my word, like, there's so much of our day that we're missing because it's just so hot outside. Even if we do get to the parks at 8 a.m. or 7:30, like, come 10:30, like, my daughter's done, and like, we still have so much of the day. So anyway, even if we do get an early start, like, that still only leaves us with 2.5 hours of park time until like she's done. That's probably what I struggle with the most, is having to decide, do we stay here and grab lunch like we normally would? Do I squeeze in one more ride? Or do we leave and I do what's best for my daughter and give her the rest and the break that she needs? I think that's probably the hardest part, and I feel like I way over explained that, but yeah, that's the hardest part in the summer, is that it's just so hot so early. Where did you have the best animal views at Animal Kingdom Lodge? Okay, you would think it would be Jambo House, but surprisingly, you are gonna find the best animal viewing locations at Kidani Village, right off the lobby in Kidani Village, and you can go out on this little patio area, and I felt like we were so close to the giraffe. Like they were just right up close, as close as you could possibly get to the little patio. So if you're looking for the best unobstructed views for the animals, like where you're gonna see them up close, it's actually not gonna be at Jambo House. I don't feel like we ever saw animals up close at Jambo House. We would always see them like way off in the distance, or you go down to the the ground floor where you have the savanna like overlook area where you can walk out, and we would always see things like far off in the distance. But if you're looking for something up close, go to Kidani. Even Sanaa, if you grab a lunch or dinner, I would say dinner reservation, because the animals tend to come out a little bit more in the evening, you are gonna see giraffe like literally right up against the window, like as close as you could possibly get. And there's ostrich and zebra, all kinds of stuff. But go to Kidani, that's where you're gonna see the animals up close. Is it worth staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge even without a savanna view? Okay, I'm glad someone asked this, because that was honestly my biggest question, and I wanted to experience both. So we did the Savannah View room at Jambo House, and then we did a standard view at Kidani, because again, I wanted to experience like, what is it gonna be like to stay here if we have a view that's overlooking the parking lot? And our view at Kidani, we were overlooking the porte-cochere and the roof area, so we had a lot of like AC unit stuff like right outside our room. But surprisingly, I really didn't mind the standard view overlooking the rooftop. Again, I think because Kidani had the best animal viewing spots just off the lobby, we were able to, on our way out of our room, we could look out the window from the elevator and see a giraffe. We could walk right outside the lobby and see zebra like right up close. And it was always in passing, like we were always seeing animals as we were coming and going at Kidani, because everything is so much smaller. I just feel like we were able to see so much more. And I felt like that kind of scratched the itch of getting to see the animals a lot. So if you find a really good deal, but the room is a standard view, especially at Kidani, I think that's the key. Don't let that steer you away from staying there. I really think you could still get the full Animal Kingdom Lodge experience with a standard view. I don't feel like our stay at Jambo House with the Savannah view was any more spectacular than our room at Kidani. Like just the whole experience. Obviously the room was a little more updated because we were on the hotel site at Jambo House and we were club level, of course that played a role, but the view itself, like take away everything else, I wouldn't say that our time in our Savannah View room was any more magical than our standard view room. So that's what I would say. How long is the walk from Jambo House to the Kidani Kids pool and splash pad area? So you can walk from Jambo House to Kidani back and forth. It's about a 10-minute walk, or you can take a 3-minute shuttle ride. So you have both options. And then once you get to Kidani, it's another 5-minute walk from the lobby to the pool. So you actually never even go in the resort, like in Kidani, to get to the pool. It's around the resort, like on the outside of the resort. It's kind of interesting. Once you experience it, you're like, this is a little different, but you do have an additional 5-minute walk from the lobby of Kidani to the pool and splash pad there. So if you're walking from Jambo House, it's probably gonna be around a 15-minute walk total. So I would recommend taking the shuttle, especially if you have little ones. You would definitely want to bring a stroller if you do plan on walking. So just plan on that. It's an additional 5 minutes once you get to Kidani, and then 10 minutes to walk to and from Jambo House in Kidani. How will you do trips when your daughter is in kindergarten full time? So we have one more year until kindergarten. I have one more full year of preschool. Ellie is almost 4.5. She turns 5 in January. So we have one more year, and I do plan on homeschooling her. My plan is to do a tutorial kind of program where she gets to go to school 2 days a week. So she'll still get the full school experience with being in a classroom, interacting with teachers, having friends, just the whole experience. I want her to still have that, but then we'll still have the flexibility of homeschool. So we'll homeschool 3 days a week, and then she'll go to school 2 days a week. That is our plan. So that'll still give us the flexibility to travel on a Friday and come back on on a Monday and we can do homeschool, you know, 1 or 2 of those days. So I think it's going to give us the flexibility and freedom that we need while still giving her the classroom school experience that I want her to have. MCO to Disney transportation versus transportation by Mike. Why did you change? This has been a very popular question because I have used transportation by Mike for our private transportation to and from the airport for about the past year now. They've covered all of our transportation, but to be totally transparent, I've never earned any kind of commission. I've never been sponsored by them. They have never paid me in any form or capacity. But part of my job is to review and experience other companies and services as well so that I know I am offering the best recommendation that I can. So while Mike's is great and I will continue to recommend them, I also really, really love MCO to Disney. I did find, again, this is me being totally transparent. None of this has ever been sponsored. Like no one has ever paid me to talk about their company. Being totally honest, I did find that MCO to Disney, their service was slightly elevated and it felt a little more professional communication-wise, and I was really, really impressed. So those are my honest thoughts, and I do have a discount code with MCO to Disney, which is really, really exciting. I've never been able to share a transportation discount code before, and I finally have that. So it's really, really exciting. I'll have that linked down below where you can save 10% with MCO to Disney, and I truly, truly think that you are gonna get the absolute best service with MCO to Disney. I'm really excited to be recommending them. If you're gonna be using private transportation on your Disney vacation, it's not cheap, and I want you to know what the best of the best is. So that is why I wanted to branch out and try some other companies. I've tried a couple in the past. I won't be sharing what those are. I don't recommend them. But moving forward, you can't go wrong with Mike's, but I do think that MCO to Disney is absolutely incredible. Okay, back to all things Animal Kingdom Lodge. Are all Kidani DVC rooms club level? All right, to clarify this question, club level is only offered at Jambo House, so there is no club level option when you stay Kidani. That is only at Jambo House. And there are 4 different ways that you can stay at Jambo House. You can stay on the hotel side, you can stay on the DVC side, or you can stay on the hotel side with club level, or you can stay on the DVC side with club level. So Jambo House is the only DVC resort where you can stay club level. No other DVC resort has a club level option. It is only offered at Jambo House. So I hope that clarifies that question. So there are quite a few ways that you can stay at Jambo House, and they're all their own separate booking categories. So I got this question the other day, like, oh, I'm staying in a DVC room at Jambo House. How do I know if it's club level? You would have to intentionally book that room category to have access to the Kilimanjaro Club. So you would know if you are staying club level. Your bank account would know if you're staying club level. But I hope that clarifies all the different ways that you can stay at Jambo House. And then with Kidani, it is only DVC rooms. There is no hotel option. You can either rent DVC points to stay there or you can pay cash to stay there, but there are only DVC villas at Kidani. So there are a lot of different ways to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I love that though. I think that's a huge pro of staying there, is that you do have so many room options and that you have so many different ways to stay there. Which did you like best? Wilderness Lodge, Beach Club, or Animal Kingdom Lodge club level? And I've also stayed Boardwalk club level. So those are the 4 that I've experienced: Beach Club, Boardwalk, Animal Kingdom Lodge, and Wilderness Lodge. If I had to rank them, I would probably, well, it's tough because I feel like the food was the absolute best at Animal Kingdom Lodge. They had the most substantial food offerings there, where they pretty much brought up several of the items from Boma for breakfast and dinner. So even the day that we went and got like that late breakfast, early lunch at Boma, part of me thought like, man, why am I paying for this? Because we literally got this same food up in the Kilimanjaro Club that morning, and then same thing for dinner that night. So anyway, but I feel like Animal Kingdom Lodge had the absolute best food. If I had to pick the best experience, I would say Beach Club because their service and the cast members there were the most memorable. I feel like we had the most attentive cast members there where they were actually coming up to our table, wanting to interact with Ellie, asking me questions about our trip, asking if they could take plates or give me a refill, or going above and beyond before I even had to ask for anything. They were already doing it and had it done. Their concierge team was incredible. So I feel like for that reason, I would stay at Beach Club, club level again in a heartbeat. Even though the food wasn't quite up to par with Animal Kingdom Lodge, the cast members at the Beach Club level, that's what made our experience a 10 out of 10. So that's why it's kind of tough to rank it. So for food, Animal Kingdom Lodge; for service and overall experience, Beach Club; and then Boardwalk and Wilderness Lodge, I think fall somewhere in the middle of both of those. I feel like we had really great cast member interactions at Boardwalk, and then maybe not so much at Wilderness Lodge, but the food was better at Wilderness Lodge. So amazing food at Animal Kingdom Lodge and Wilderness Lodge, and incredible cast members and service that went above and beyond at Beach Club, ranking number 1, and then Boardwalk. So that's kind of how I would categorize them, I guess. But Beach Club would be my number 1. Would you say Animal Kingdom Lodge water play area tops Polynesian for toddlers and preschoolers? Honestly, I would. I think if you have little toddlers, Animal Kingdom Lodge, the Kidani Village splash pad is the absolute best. It's not overwhelming. You don't have that giant dumping bucket that most toddlers don't love, getting just like dumped on with water. And Kidani Village didn't have that, which was a huge win for us. And it's all shaded. It's really easy to walk around with your little one and not lose sight of them. It's all fenced in for the most part. It's a very enclosed splash pad area, and you can be right there with them. I feel like at Polynesian, it's a really great fit maybe for preschoolers, not so much little toddlers. If you have an 18-month-old, I feel like at Polynesian, it would be really easy to lose track of your little one because there are so many hidden corners and staircases and bridges, where at Kidani, it's way easier to stay right with them and it's just less overwhelming. So I think for little toddlers, Kidani; if you have preschoolers or older kids, I think Polynesian is probably going to be a better fit. I think Ellie is probably somewhere in between that. She did lose interest in the Kidani splash pad after a little while. I think when we first approached it, she was really excited about it. We spent maybe 30 minutes there, and then she was like, okay, well, that's it, I'm done. And so then she wanted to just be in the pool after that. So that's why I think for preschoolers, kindergarteners, Polynesian might be a better fit. And then for little toddlers, Kidani Village. Would Animal Kingdom Lodge be worth it to stay for a 3-day, 2-night trip? Is there enough to do on a resort day? Absolutely. I think if you are gonna do a resort, mostly resort time, 2-night trip, Animal Kingdom Lodge is probably the best resort to do it at because you have access to Kidani Village and then all of the amenities at Jambo House. There's so much incredible dining there. You have both of the pool options. You have Simba's Clubhouse. You have all the different animal viewing locations. So lots and lots to do. I feel like Animal Kingdom Lodge would be a great fit for that kind of trip. How does Animal Kingdom Lodge rank for you now? I was thinking about this the entire time we were there, and y'all are gonna be shocked by this, but I think Animal Kingdom Lodge just climbed above Old Key West. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but I really feel like my top 5 are now Grand Floridian, that will never change. Wilderness Lodge, that will never change. And then it was Old Key West, but I think Animal Kingdom Lodge just bumped up on my list. I want to say Animal Kingdom Lodge now and then Old Key West. Like Old Key West just got bumped down, y'all. So that's my current ranking. A lot of y'all hold me to that ranking as if my life depends on it. So please give a little grace. The ranking can change, you know, in a few months, I might say something different. So we're just gonna give that little disclaimer right there. How many animals did you see from your Savannah View room? A lot. We saw, I would say mostly zebra and giraffe and wildebeest. and the kudu, I think, because we were on the kudu trail. We saw a lot though. I would say mostly in the evening, right before bed, is when we saw the animals the most active and they were out the most. There was one evening where it stormed like crazy and we had this huge thunderstorm roll in, and we got back to the resort as it was clearing up, but it was still like kind of sprinkling out, and the animals were like going wild. Like they were running around, they were playing with each other. It was so amazing seeing the animals so active. So I've heard that rain gets the animals like really excited. So that might be a good time to head out and watch the animals right after it rains. They get really excited and start running around. So anyway, we saw a lot of animals from our room though. Did the balcony have a bad smell because of the animals being so close? Actually, no. I think a lot of people assume this, like you're at a zoo and well, it's gonna smell like a farm or something, like you're in a barn, but it doesn't at all. You still walk into Animal Kingdom Lodge and you have that Disney resort smell that just like, oh, you walk in and you're like, I'm at Disney. It's that kind of smell. And then you can walk outside and you can't smell a single animal. Like, I don't know how Disney does it, but I have no clue. Like it smelled like you were just outside. Like it just was like a normal outside smell in Florida. I don't know how it didn't smell like a farm, but it didn't. Did you experience a room check while you were there? Happened during nap time, of course, at Grand Floridian. Y'all, the room checks. I cannot stand the room checks. I know that Disney is doing their best to make sure, keep everyone safe, the whole thing. But the room checks typically happen between 12 and 4 o'clock, right when you're back in your room for midday break. So every day, the time was always a little bit different. One day it was like 3:30, one day it was 4 o'clock, one day it was 1 o'clock. So it was different every day, but the room checks drive me insane, you guys. One day we were getting ready to get back out and go to the parks, and I was doing Ellie's hair because she had just woken up from a nap and she had crazy nap hair. So I was like, let's just redo this. So I'm braiding her hair in the bathroom and I hear a knock on the door and I'm like, oh no, I'm in the middle of this French braid. Like I am not letting go of this French braid. And if you've ever French braided your daughter's hair, like, oh my goodness, it's time consuming. You're constantly telling your little girl to be like, don't move, be still, look down, look up, don't move, don't talk. So I'm like, I'm not letting go of this braid. I knew I didn't have the lock on the door and they just kept knocking over and over and over. I don't think they heard me, but they just come in anyway. And so I lean out and say, hi, like I'm doing my daughter's hair. I can't let go. So just hi, and he's like, oh, that's okay. Like, I'm just going to take a quick peek around and we got to do the room check. So I'm in the bathroom with my daughter, like doing her hair, and someone just barges right in and, walking around our room, and they're like, okay, thanks, have a good night. But I think, I don't know, part of me is like, it's not okay that they are allowed to do that while you're in the room, because what if my daughter wasn't dressed? What if I wasn't dressed? What if, you know what I mean? Like there's so many what ifs, and it just makes me so uncomfortable. And if you have ever been frustrated by the room check, just know that you are not alone. I have some other crazy horror stories from room checks and receiving phone calls at like 10 o'clock at night while Ellie is sleeping, like multiple phone calls at night. Anyway, just horror stories of room checks. And I just have to know in advance, like that's what I'm signing up for by staying at a Disney resort. They will come into your room no matter what. Like they're just going to come in. If you're in the shower, if you're in the bathroom, they will come into your room, and it's not okay, but that's just Disney's policy. So I try to have that additional lock over the door. But sometimes you forget, or sometimes, whatever the case is, and they just come on in. So anyway, room checks happen. MCO to Disney question, how much time before your flight do you request pickup from your resort? I've always done 2 hours before our flight. It normally takes us about 30 minutes to get from our resort to the airport. We do have TSA pre-check, so that does play a role in us getting through security really quick. So if we do 2 hours before our flight, we normally have 30 minutes to spare before boarding. So 30 minutes to get there, 30 minutes to drop our bags and go through security, and then we have 30 minutes before we board, and then we fly out. So I always do 2 hours before, and we've always had plenty of time. Just a comment, I love you mixing it up on each trip, different hotel, food, rides, it stays fresh. That is my goal. I love being able to share all different experiences and not do the same trip over and over, because one, that would be really boring for me and Ellie to just do the same thing over and over, but also for you guys to watch the same thing over and over. So I really try to mix up our trips every time, stay at resorts we haven't stayed at in a while, experience things we haven't done, try new restaurants, strategize different style park days, and that way I have new and fresh content to share, and it keeps what I do really fun. Would you ever not order groceries, like 100% club level stay? I think so. I think the only exception to that would be having a case of water in my room. I will fly through water. If I were to ask for bottles of water at club level, they give you these tiny little, like, I think they're 8 ounces or 10 ounces of water, and you have to ask for them. They don't keep them in the refrigerator. The only time I saw them have them in the fridge was at the Grand Destino Tower club level. Every other club level, you have to ask for them. So I would be asking cast members like, hi, can I have 15 bottles of water? Well, and then you double that. So I would be like, hi, can I have 30 bottles of water sent to my room? So that would be the only exception to not ordering groceries. I have to have a case of water in the room. Was most of your time spent at the resort versus the parks, or it just seemed like it from stories? I would say most of our time is actually spent in the parks. I think if it seemed like we were only at the resort is because I was so excited to share about Animal Kingdom Lodge that I feel like that's a lot of what I was sharing, even though we were in the parks most days from like 8:30 to 1, and then we go back to the parks around 4 or 5 o'clock until 8:30-ish. So yeah, I would still say that most of our day is spent at the park, even though we do spend a lot of time at the resort. I think park time still outweighs how much we're at the resort. Do you put the rain cover on the stroller when you go into any ride, or just the afternoon? If it looks like it's getting like dark clouds and it might rain, I just go ahead and put the rain cover on. If it's like not a cloud in the sky, or it just looks maybe a little gloomy and we're going into a ride and I know it's gonna be like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I'm usually fine to not put the rain cover on. I just use my best judgment with the rain cover. If it looks like pretty cloudy, and I'll check the weather and see, you can check and see if something is coming in your direction, I'll go ahead and put the rain cover on. There was one day, the day that I referred to, where this crazy thunderstorm came out of nowhere, like literally nowhere, starting to sprinkle. Let's go into Carousel of Progress and maybe this will blow over. By the time we came out of Carousel of Progress, which Ellie hated, by the way, by the time we came out, it was like sideways raining. I mean, just like crazy thunderstorm. And I look over in the section where I left my stroller and everything is covered. Sure enough, no one else except like maybe 1 or 2 other strollers had their rain covers on their strollers. Everyone else, nothing. Like their stuff was just soaked. So I really just use my best judgment where even though it looks like everything is clear, if it seems like, you know what, it might rain, let's go ahead and put the rain cover on. And then I'll obviously check the weather and I can see if something's rolling in. But I never base my rain cover decision on what other strollers are looking like around me, because I have been where I'm the only one with a rain cover on with my stroller, where I'm the only one to get it out. So I never look and see like, well, what are other people doing around me? Like, okay, well, they don't have their rain cover on, I'm good. Like, never base it on that. Always check for yourself. Would love a recap of bus times to each of the parks, how often the buses came. All right, y'all. I have so much to share about the buses, because the buses at Animal Kingdom Lodge, I've got my finger out for this one. I'm like, the buses at Animal Kingdom Lodge, it's a myth. Like, if anyone has ever told you, and we've all heard it, like Animal Kingdom Lodge is so far away, the buses are awful, that's the #1 con, don't stay there if you don't like bus transportation, it's awful here. So I was expecting the worst. Like, I went into this resort stay and I was like, you know what, I'm probably not gonna love it, but I think it'd be really great content to share, so I'm just gonna get the full experience and I probably won't stay here again. That was my very honest, thought going into this day, and I could not have been more wrong. So I made a note of all the bus times because I was like, people need to know. Like, I feel like there's been so much inaccurate information being spread around about this resort and the buses here that I'm like, no, people need to know. So the bus time from Animal Kingdom Lodge to Hollywood Studios, 11 minutes. From Animal Kingdom Lodge to Epcot, 11 minutes. Animal Kingdom Lodge to Magic Kingdom, 15 minutes. And to Animal Kingdom, 6 minutes. And you do make one stop. So you start at Kidani, you make one stop at Jambo House, and then you head to the parks from there. Although there was one morning that we were headed to Magic Kingdom from Kidani, and the bus left straight from Kidani to Magic Kingdom. There was no stop at Jambo House. So I don't know if that is inconsistent, if there are certain mornings or busy mornings where they have individual buses. That might be the case. So I'm not sure. But when we would return to Jambo House, we did have to stop at Kidani, let people off the bus, and then we went on to Jambo. But these were some of the quickest bus rides I've ever experienced. Like, if you're comparing this to Coronado or Caribbean Beach, I mean, Animal Kingdom Lodge wins hands down every time. And sometimes the price point at Animal Kingdom Lodge is exactly the same at Caribbean Beach. And I have found that depending on where you're located within Caribbean Beach, you could make 10 to 15 minutes of stops, and then it's a 15-minute ride to Magic Kingdom from Caribbean Beach. So you're potentially looking at a 25 to 30-minute bus ride from Caribbean Beach, or a 15-minute bus ride to Magic Kingdom from Animal Kingdom Lodge. And because I was curious, I did some research with some other resorts and compared travel time so that you guys could see, oh wow, okay, Animal Kingdom Lodge really isn't that much different than other popular resorts. So I know I just shared about Caribbean Beach. Old Key West is a 13-minute bus ride to Magic Kingdom plus 10 to 15 minutes of stops around the resort. So Animal Kingdom Lodge is actually a quicker bus ride than Old Key West is going to give you. Beach Club to Magic Kingdom is a 12-minute bus ride, only 3 minutes faster than Animal Kingdom Lodge. Coronado Springs to Magic Kingdom is a 12-minute bus ride plus 10 minutes of stops around the resort, again, depending on where you're located. So that's, 20 to 25 minutes to Magic Kingdom. So potentially, it's actually quicker to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge and get to the parks than it is at Coronado, Caribbean Beach, like Old Key West, Saratoga Springs, some of these other resorts. Now, I know it doesn't compare to at Beach Club. You can obviously walk to Epcot. You can take a boat to Hollywood Studios. But that boat ride is 10 to 15 minutes. And it's only an 11-minute bus ride to Hollywood and Epcot from Animal Kingdom Lodge. So the same amount of time that it takes to take a boat from Beach Club to Hollywood Studios. And we've even taken the boat back from Hollywood to Boardwalk, and it took us about 20 minutes. Like, by the time we stopped at the Swan and Dolphin, you have to go and stop at Yacht Club, and then the boat goes over to Boardwalk. I mean, that's a 20 to 25-minute boat ride back from Hollywood to Boardwalk. So I think there's a lot of different transportation routes you could compare it to. If travel time is the only thing you're looking at and you're not comparing it to, we have the Skyliner, the boat, the monorail, like if you're just looking at the travel time itself, Animal Kingdom Lodge actually wins for me. Like, hands down, the quickest bus rides to and from all of the parks than I've ever experienced at any other resort. I was so impressed. We would leave Animal Kingdom Lodge and be inside Hollywood Studios within 15 to 20 minutes. Like, through security, scanned in. I was shocked. Like, I could not believe it. Like, under 20 minutes, we were leaving Animal Kingdom Lodge inside Hollywood Studios. Animal Kingdom Lodge being far away is a myth. It's really not far. The bus ride, the travel time itself is super, super quick. And if you're okay with taking the bus and, collapsing your stroller and that part did get a little old, like not having an option where I could just push the stroller right onto the Skyliner or the monorail or the boat. I did have to collapse the stroller down every single time, and that did get a little all right, here we go again. But setting that aside, I was always super, super impressed with how quick it was to get from point A to point B. Can you share more about renting DVC points at Kidani Village? Yes, so anytime I rent DVC points, it is through DVC Rental Store. I love them for so many reasons, but I haven't talked about this on YouTube yet. If you follow me on Instagram, you've been seeing a lot about my new guide that I've created. It's called Deluxe on a Dime, and I wanted to have a resource that I could point you to that would take you through the whole process of renting DVC points from start to finish. So if you are brand new, you're on a beginner level, and you're like, what is DVC? What is renting points? What does that even mean? It's gonna explain everything and give you that foundation to where you actually understand the process and you're not just going through the motions like, I don't even fully know what this is, but I'm gonna go for it. That way you can actually do it with confidence, have all of your questions answered, and have the peace of mind that I didn't really have the first time I was renting points. I had so many questions and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Is this reservation even like real? Am I, So to have a resource that I can recommend and say, hey, I wrote out this 15-page guide that's gonna walk you through the whole process, answer all of your questions. It's gonna give you a DVC rental planning checklist, lots of good information, lots of good stuff, but more than anything, to have something that's gonna hold your hand through the whole process and again, bring you that peace of mind and put to rest any concern that you have. That's what it's gonna do. So now that I've talked about Deluxe on a Dime, Kidani Village, yes, I did rent DVC points. The reservation total was $588. That was not any kind of special deal. That was just the DVC rental price of a standard view studio at Kidani Village. Like $588 for 2 nights. That is insane. The same room was gonna cost around $1,100 through Disney. Like, insane that you can save over 50% by renting DVC points. So I've talked about this for many, many years, but I feel really strongly about it more than ever because more people need to know about this. And I know I've been doing this for years, but I've never really had a resource to point people to share more about the process and to help guide you through step by step. So go check it out. I'll have Deluxe on a Dime listed down below. It's $27 and it is going to help you save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on your deluxe resort. It's incredible. Okay, I think I'm gonna end it there. There's a lot of questions left, but as I'm looking at it, I think everything is kind of a repeat question about Animal Kingdom Lodge, transportation, Jambo or Kidani. So pretty much everything we've talked about, but if your question did not get answered, feel free to head over to Instagram and send me a DM. I love getting to chat with you guys and help answer questions about your Disney vacation. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love getting to sit down and chat with you guys. If you have made it this far and you are not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Stick around for more and give this video a thumbs up. It really does help support my channel. Thank you guys again, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.